Well, hello everyone and welcome. I'm David Brown. I'm a life and leadership coach to solopreneurs and small business owners, and friend to a seriously powerful inner critic. But it hasn't always been that way. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a five-step process that I use to befriend your inner critic, so that you can work together as allies rather than fight each other like your enemies. So this is going to be an interactive and experiential session. So I am going to invite people to share. I guess predominantly you're going to want to do it in the chat, but if you want to unmute yourselves, then please know that because it's being recorded, it's not going to be an anonymous contribution. But if you do it in the chat, then it will be. So just to set that out for everyone who's on the call today. So the thing that I want to share with you is that I think that we misunderstand our inner critic. We think it's there to trip us up, what's the word? Sabotage us. And we tend to think of it like it's our enemy. And if you think of your inner critic that way, it's no wonder that you want to fight with it, that you want it to be quiet, like you want to ignore it, or that you want to get rid of it in some way. And if you're treating your inner critic like the enemy, how is that strategy working for you? So for me, it really didn't work at all. So it brought up in a conflict. I would sort of like argue with myself and second guess myself. It really like eroded and corroded my confidence. Um, there'd be thoughts of like I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy, and that would really play on my fear and my anxiety. It really caused me to doubt myself and not trust myself, and that there was a sense somehow that I needed to be fixed in some way, or that something was missing. So let me give you an example. So I really struggle with public speaking. Um, Most people say, "Really? I didn't know that." But yeah, I've kind of been doing the work, so it's much better than it used to be. So when I would think of speaking in public, my inner critic would say something like, you know, stay silent, don't make yourself visible. You don't really want to go to all that trouble to volunteer to speak in public. And if I ignored those words, my inner critic would get more insistent. People aren't interested in what you've got to share. What if they laugh at you? Or what if you get it wrong or make a mistake? And if I continue to go ahead with my public speaking engagement, then my inner critic would really like double down, right? Who do you think you are? What makes you think that you're so special? You don't have anything to say to anybody anyway. So I just want to invite you to share in the chat. Is there anything that you notice about that progress or that progression of thinking that I shared with you just then? So share in the chat or unmute if you're happy to be a voice in the room. But just to get some ideas would be great. Yeah, all of the above. Yeah, very relatable.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being actively taught to silence my inner critic and to, avoid it or try and ignore it. And all those, this is like, I don't know, back in the 90s, all those self-help strategies just escalated into kind of war zone. It was a really difficult internal experience. And I think for me, it was a real, like you're saying, for your experience, it was a real kind of light bulb moment to go, hang on a minute,
Mm.
this is not helpful, and kind of actually worked, finding a different way of relating to that part. So I'm really curious to hear more because I feel how powerful has been for me to
Mm.
just turn that story inside out. I think we live in a culture where that is really, it's still a part of the narrative. And I'm like, that's not right. It's not healthy.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thanks, Thor. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, so people are saying that they relate to this 100%. I recognize all of it, invalidating myself all the time, like it's really exhausting. Um, so yeah, absolutely. So for me, what it was like I was ignoring that voice, and it like it got progressively more critical and progressively harsher. Like the more I stepped out of my comfort zone, like the more I was going to be like, I'm really doing this. My inner critic would be like, no, don't do it. We don't want you to do that. Save yourself, David. It's all of that kind of stuff. So it's easy to see that the inner critic, or I found it really easy to see, and Thor was also sharing this too, that the inner critic's trying to trip you up or stop me from doing what it is that I want to do to get in the way of my progress. And I started to notice that if I frame the inner critic as the enemy, it's like, of course, I'm going to want to silence it. Of course, I'm going to want to fight it and wrestle with it and want to get rid of it in some way. But a little bit like a little child or a dog that you ignore, they keep coming back stronger. They won't just walk away, right? They'll keep coming back if you ignore them. So, what if we were to think of the inner critic as a friend or an ally? What might you think the inner critic is doing if you see it as a friend? So all of those phrases that the inner or the phrases that your inner critic is saying, what do you think perhaps the inner critic is trying to do when it speaks? Can people put that in the chat? Oh, testing you. Yeah. Yeah. Self-preservation, protect, keep you safe. Yeah, protecting, desperately wanting to keep me safe. Yeah, signaling. Yeah, showing what you want in a weird way. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah. Yeah, trying to keep me safe. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So it is interesting, isn't it? How if you come at it from this perspective of the enemy, you see it one way, and then if you come at it from this perspective of it's befriending me or it's a friend to me or an ally, then it's like, well, it's protecting me. Yeah, so protecting, defending, keeping me safe. And again, just to highlight what Bernie said about it's like trying to draw my attention or tell me what it is that I want, and we'll get to that towards the end. So thanks, Bernie, for almost busting the punchline, but you didn't, so thanks. So so it's interesting, yeah. So if you're befriending your inner critic, it might lead you to a different approach to working with the inner critic. Befriending my inner critic has been like a game changer for me. So what I want to share with you are the steps that I use when my inner critic speaks up. So this is like I've done this for years now and it really, really works for me. If I share it with you and it works for you, then I'd take that as a win. But before I do that, just a quick side note. I said that my inner critic steps in like it's the present tense. So my inner critic hasn't gone anywhere. I'm sure Thor would put a thumbs up and say that their inner critic hasn't gone anywhere either. No, shaking their head. Very good. Okay. So I don't think it's possible to get rid of your inner critic. It's a part of me, and I'm sure that this is true for everybody. So, like anything, rather than being at conflict with yourself, it's better to find a more harmonious way, just like it is in any relationship, yeah, within or without. So, so if we can find a way to have the inner critic be like a friend or an ally, then it can help us through life. So, back to the steps. I want you to think of a situation where your inner critic speaks up. So it could be public speaking, it could be dealing with conflict, it could be about being vulnerable, or like asking for help or asking for money, which is obviously one of the things that we do as small business owners or solopreneurs, charging more money, making changes to your business, saying no to things or even saying yes to things. So just think of a very, very specific situation where you are, where your inner critic is quite vocal. Can I get the thumbs up that people have all got something very good? If it's specific, it's more helpful rather than being general. Okay. So now apply these steps, right? So the first step is awareness. What are the beliefs and judgments that are coming up? So, like I shared earlier, I'm going to speak in public, and it's like I've got beliefs about, well, you don't really want to go to all of that trouble, and no one's really that interested. And what if you make mistakes or get it wrong, or people laugh at you, or whatever it might be? So just take a few seconds to write down or think about what are the beliefs and judgments that are coming up, because this is really helpful to Bernie's point. So you might have some more, but if you've just in the interest of time. So the second part of this is to pause, right? Don't keep going on with the dialogue and the spiraling, right? Because it's like the inner critic gets a bit of momentum. It starts getting on a bit of a roll, and it'll keep speaking and it'll keep trying to talk you out of something. So as best you can, and don't act on any of those things that come up. Okay. And then just take a moment. This is the third step, acceptance. Take a moment to just read through your list and acknowledge, yeah, these are the beliefs and the judgments that are alive and present right now. And you might notice as you're reading them that maybe there's some tension in your body, or that you're holding your breath, or that you're breathing quickly. And as best you can, just relax yourself if you feel any of that happening, so that your breathing is slower, so that your body stays relaxed. Just allow yourself to accept the beliefs, because part of the process is just being able to go, this is where I am, this is what I'm experiencing. There's no point in denying or trying to pretend that it isn't the way that it is. And now we can go to the fourth step, which is centering. So this is relaxing, calming, and grounding yourself. So I'm just going to take you through a really, really quick way to that you can ground yourself. So um, if you put down any pens or anything like that that you might have in your hands, you can sit back in your chair. If your legs are crossed at the knees or at the ankles, you can uncross them and rest your hands in your lap. And if you want to close your eyes, then by all means do close your eyes. But I do encourage to do it with your eyes open, so that you can do this in live situations when people are in the room, or uh, other sort of social situations. So just feel the contact that your feet are making with the floor. Feel the contact that you're making with the seat that you're on and the back of the chair. Be aware of the sounds that you can hear in the room. And then you can also just adjust your posture so that you feel upright, that you feel stable, that you feel relaxed. And not just be aware of your inner space, but also to be aware of the space around you. So, like you're in a bubble and being aware of the bubble that you're sitting in. And then relax the muscles at the front of the body. These are the muscles that get tense when we're stressed or anxious. So, relaxing your forehead, the muscles between and around your eyes, relax your jaw and your tongue. Allow your throat to relax and your chest to soften. Let your belly plop out and allow the muscles in and around your pelvis to relax as well. So you feel grounded. It's like you can feel your center of gravity get closer to the floor. And allow yourself to rest in this more calm, relaxed, and what I would call like a sovereign state. And from this place, just notice what other perspectives start to emerge about this situation. Like for me, it comes up that, well, I actually do have stuff to share. And if people don't like what I say, then that's okay, but some people will. So, whatever the new perspectives are that emerge for you, please take a few moments to write those down. And then when you've got your list, then this is the opportunity for you to choose one or more than one perspective that most serves your goals and your intentions so that you can move forward not from a place of fear and contraction and worry and but actually from hopefully a more grounded and expansive and open space. So this is very much working on like who you're being rather than necessarily what you're doing. So another invitation to put in the chat. Is there anything that's kind of popping up that's quite interesting? Um, any perspectives that are helpful? Because sometimes in the group sharing, it's quite useful because you can steal ideas from other people. It might be quite nice for the people on the recording to hear some of what's coming up in the call. So yeah, my inner voice says about anything, it works for them, but it won't work for me. I don't know enough. Yeah. Good. Anything else? Feels like a reassuring adult perspective for my childlike panic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got this. It's okay. Yeah. What came up for me is that I deserve progress. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Like a prayer is playing in the background here, and I'm having my moment with you all. Yeah. Lovely. Lovely. Yeah. Sometimes the environment just presents you with the perfect thing. Yeah. Another one. I don't need them to feel safe. So that's my why bother for next steps with them. Yeah. I'm relaxed, but need more time on the topic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It isn't always like a quick thing. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. What's happened there? Challenging what is really real and why not you? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. Great. So helpful perspectives. Yeah. Great. Double thumbs up there. Very good. Okay. Beautiful. So the inner critic exists because you have beliefs and judgments about yourself that keep you small, such as I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, who am I, all of that. And it's the inner critic's role to bring those beliefs to your attention so that when you work with the inner critic as a friend, it's an opportunity to learn what these beliefs are, dissolve them over time, and replace them with more empowering beliefs and judgments, such as I am worthy, I am lovable, I have stuff to contribute. But not just to say them, but to really deeply believe them. So, if anybody on this call or on the recording would like to take this work further and dissolve the beliefs and judgments um, that you've explored today, I want to offer everybody an opportunity to schedule a 1 hour complimentary call where we can go deeper into this. So just get in contact with me and we can always find some time to have that call on Zoom. But for now, I shall leave you, finish the call, and enjoy befriending your inner critic. Thank you.